be a little more serious, because that the guys in school, we were just having fun, experimenting. But
Right.
when I went to university, I found more like-minded people who were actually good and really knew the music I liked too. Like, that was a big thing for me. Like finding those guys was like important, because I would probably not last if I didn't find like-minded musicians. And it was from there where I went to university and I met a drummer called Hatem, and another guy, an American dude called Brogan, um, who really sparked what became to be Nervecell. Um, yeah, nobody knows this. Like the original Nervecell lineup was way different from what it is now. I mean, we were a five-piece for beginners,
Right.
uh, and we were a cross between like Hatebreed and hardcore. Well, really, Hatebreed was a big influence on me. A cross between hardcore and death metal,
Mm.
with like high pitched vocals, like Danny Field vocals, like really high pitched. Um, so it was really weird. It was like just take what you get, sort of thing. Take whoever's alive and who
Right.
knows, who understands your musical language, and just mash it and play what you want. We started. That was when I really started playing original music, composing and stuff with these guys. I mean, again, I couldn't have done it without them, and I have to give them credit. I mean, I don't know where they are right now. I know Hatem, who was the original Nervecell drummer, is an aeronautical engineer,
Mm.
and I have no idea how many kids he has or how many wives he's had or whatever. I'm just joking. I know he's married. But I have no idea where he is. And Brogan's in the U.S. right now, who was the original Nervecell vocalist. We played like about 4 or 5 shows with that lineup, and then the inevitable happens, which is the Dubai typical story. People leave. You know, people are here for anything between 5 to 10 to 15 years, and then they cash out, go back to where they're from, buy that house, and retirement comes in
Mm.
for their family or their parents. For me, however, I've always been here. I've made this home in a way. So yeah, it's just the way life works, man. That's when Nerfcell started. It was in '99 or 2000 with that lineup I just told you about, and
Right.
then around 2002, for 2 years we were playing with that lineup, and then James came in, because back then in Dubai the scene was really, local gigs were really playing in these universities where we had access to a stage.
Right.
It was all like they allowed the youth or the college students, they call them sound society or the youth councils in these universities, to organize events. And in the universities themselves were these metalheads or these fans of music who would give us a platform to play local bands. No paperwork, no permissions, nothing. Just a bunch of kids going on stage, excited as hell to play.
Mm.
Whether it's cover songs or originals, and that's where Nervecell's foundations really started. Because we were all students ourselves in these universities, mixed around, and we would get asked by friends and acquaintances to play, and that's when we would just jump at any opportunity that we got to get a stage to play this extremely loud music that nobody really kind of knew even at that time. You
Right.
know? Yeah.
So how did the five-piece lineup became the three-piece lineup?
Yeah. So Brogan left back to the U.S., who was the original vocalist, and Hatem was having a lot of difficulties, taking this seriously. He was the most negative, probably one of the most negative guys I ever met in my life, in the sense that he just never saw himself as a drummer, and that had to do with his upbringing. Like his parents. Well, he was Jordanian, right? A lot of if you have any Arab friends, they'll tell you the Arab. I hate to say it, but like the mentality at home, for the most part, was still not curved in a way where their kids, that they saw their kids to be musicians. They just said, "You're gonna be an engineer, and that's the fuck it. You're not doing anything
Right.
else. You're gonna get a job. You're gonna be a doctor or something, and you're gonna get a family, a wife, at least 3 kids minimum, and that's it. You're gonna make us happy." So he was pressured, man. Like I would talk to him, and I would be like, "Dude, we got a jam next week. Let's write this new song or two I've been working on." He was like, "Bro, how far you think you're gonna make it with this?" He would always question me and say that to me, and I was like, "Well, At least if it gets us, busy next week, at least we have a plan of action. Let's do something. Let's stay productive.
Right.
Like he would always pick me up, and we would always hang out and check out bands and stuff. But in terms of being a band ourselves, he never took that seriously. And now I always used to encourage him and motivate him. And I would be like, "Come on, man, let's just have fun. This is fun. Like I would rather do this than go watch a movie or play video games or something." And he was always on the fence with it. He was always like, "Yeah, I love it, man. I love to play, but like, how far do you think you're gonna go? Like, do you think we're gonna one day open for Metallica?" He actually said that to me once. And
Wow.
and we can talk about that later. When the opportunity actually came 11 years later,
Right.
I actually really looked for him to remind him about that quote he questioned me on. He said because to us, that's all we knew. Metallica was that the epitome of metal.
Yeah.
Of how successful you could be, how big you can be, of how impactful their music was,
Right.
and being influenced by them, of course. So he asked me those questions, and I was like, well, I never dreamt about these things. I kind of like I just loved it. So I would always encourage him. And then he sort of eventually gave way. He kind of lost touch. He didn't come out to jam more. He wasn't showing interest. We kind of lost touch because he was trying to look for work after he graduated and stuff. And I was like, not fed up. I was just like, there's a lot of other people I know who play as well. But
Right.
because I was friends with the guy, I used to always, have a preference and prioritize him. But nothing was stopping my engines from fuming, man. I just mixed around with so many people, and eventually we ended up, finding James. Hatham was still in the band this time, and then James came in because no, we played a show in this college called AUD, and James was in the audience, and he saw us, and Rami was there too. They were friends. They came from Qatar, from Doha,
Mm. All
to
right.
Dubai to Dubai to study in the American University in Dubai. They were students there, and Nervecell played a show there. So they actually both James and Rami saw Nervecell as a 5-piece initially, and this is in 2002 probably. And then in 2003, James officially became a member. And then later that year, he said, "Hey man, I have this really good friend. His name's Rami. He's from Doha too. He's into metal, man. You'll love him. He's a guitarist too." And I was like, "Yeah, sure." Because I was like empty-handed at this point. All the members who I had in from that initial 5-piece lineup kind of left, went their own
Mm.
way, or weren't interested as much. So I was like, all constantly on the lookout. Again, it was not so much for me to, it wasn't like Nervecell was everything to me. It was like it was more a need to just surround myself with creative people and like-minded people.
Right.
Obviously we had this name. It was a local name at that point, just another band in the local scene called Nervecell. And then Rami came and we auditioned him really in my house. We sat down, we played. We actually hung out for a lot more before we actually talked about joining the band.
Mm.
We were actually all in the same group every weekend, having meals and going to restaurants and catching up and going to other gigs. So it was like kind of natural how he came in, being a friend of James, and when James came in as well, it was like I knew like these guys are different. They had that fire in them from the start, and I saw a sense of creativity, and I saw I could be comfortable with myself writing music and being myself openly with them, and that's very, very important. But but that original lineup though, I have to tell you this is a true story. We played our first gig at the Battle of the Bands in 2001 in Abu Dhabi, because Brogan, the original vocalist, had a lot of friends in
Mm.
Abu Dhabi, so we applied for it. We went there, and I swear we didn't even care what we wore. We were just like, if I have pictures from that gig, I wore a white shirt from like plain white Giordano shirt, and cargo pants. Like it was so funny because when you look at it now, yeah, everything matters. But back then, like we didn't care. The point was just to get up on stage and play. We had like 2 originals with the 5-piece lineup that I wrote with them, and we just got a slot. We got a slot that we could apply for this show. It was the Battle of the Bands. We didn't care about this battle
Mm.
aspect of things. We just wanted to play because
Play.
we knew we had something special, and we're gonna blow people's minds away. Like we were so extreme in a way where no one else was playing that sort of extreme genre. There was like punk, grunge, hard rock, but there was no like death metal or extreme vocals and stuff. So we were like, let's just register and have fun. We blow these people away and just like have a laugh. But we ended up playing the show, man. Nobody knew who we were. It was like our first gig, obviously. Nervecell was the name applied for. We had 2 weeks prior to practice and rehearse these two songs because they wanted one original and one cover. That was the requirements.
Right.
Went there, played our shit. End of the night, the judges come up on stage. Best guitarist, Barney, long-haired dude from Nervecell. Not even Barney, he was just like long-haired dude from Nervecell was written on the envelope. And it was like a gift voucher from a music
Right.
store. And because nobody knew us, man. And one of the awards was most creative band as well. And that really had to do with our honesty in just dying to play and our desire to just fucking get out there and, you know, the energy and everything, man. We stood out. When I watched that video, because we obviously had it all recorded and stuff, you could tell why we won that most creative band award, because there was like 8 awards: best vocalist, best bassist, best original song, best guitarist, best drummer, and then most creative band, and then something else. I know one of the 8 awards. So we won 2 of the 8, and it was our first gig ever. And that to me was very inspiring. I was like, holy shit, man. So we could be something here, you know? And I just took that and I just kept fighting through. I realized 2 months later where there was another Battle of the Bands in Dubai. And I applied for that. I went and said, you know what, we have some credibility now. We just did this Abu Dhabi thing. People may know us. We made T-shirts, just like 50 T-shirts, printed them at home, screen printing.
Right.
Brogan was really good at that. And we went to the Dubai edition of the Battle of the Bands. It was all colleges or school bands. And people knew who we were. They were like, I can't wait to see you guys. You know, man, you guys are amazing. I've been telling my friends about this. I can't wait to see you guys do what you did in Abu Dhabi again. And it was a much bigger stage. The shirts all sold out, like all 50 of them. I have my one. It's like a souvenir at this point. Like it's the original print. And it's like, those were signs for me that from the very start, I was very fortunate that I actually got those signs. I could see that there's something here. It's not just a fun thing anymore. You know, like that high school band I started. It's not just a hobby or something. It's like we have something here. People are coming up. People are talking about us. People are ready to buy like this T-shirt we tried experimenting with to sell. Like really fighting for it. Like coming to buy, like willingly paying money out of their wallet to pick up our shirts. It was like if I put myself in their shoes and I was like, if I saw a band, the local band, if I really liked them and I, you know, came out with my pocket money to buy their shit, it probably means something to me, you know? So I was like, I was very humbled by that, man. I couldn't believe that there was so much enthusiasm from people in the scene who weren't even a part of this. You know, they weren't invested in Nervecell. They just liked what we did. And right from that point, man, like in the first year of Nervecell, I mean, the first 2 shows of Nervecell, I knew that I have something here. You know, there's a formula I found. I just got to find the right people to propel this. And just, again, the mindset is to just do it because we love it. And whatever comes with that package is great.